Umar would be fucking upset.
Shane's like that one guy, he's like Adam Dunn. Like 90% of the time he's gonna strike out, but man, that one time when he made contact,
That one
that
fucking
ball's
time.
still
You
going.
hear him, Schwab, there you go, man. Listen,
All
if
right, man.
anybody's going to protect his interests, it's going to be Schwab.
Out of here. We're live now. You're in our way. Welcome, everyone, as we kick off that stranger who used to do this show with us. Welcome, everyone, to the Good Podcast. I'm your hostess with the Gnosis. You already know what's going on. Here tonight with the three amigos plus one because y'all can't see Schwab, but Schwab here too. Shane will be jumping on when he get a chance. So just checking in for them. But I got DJ and PJ with me. What up, DJ?
What up, bro?
What up, bro? Gang. Okay. PJ, what's happening?
What's good?
What's the word? All right, so we're gonna jump right into NFL preseason. Just want to hit some takeaways. What y'all saw. I know we probably gonna talk a lot about Justin Fields, and that's cool. There's a couple injuries that happened. Today, Cam Newton got cut in favor of Mac Jones, who we talked about a lot on here. So, Schwab, I'm gonna start with you, so the people know that you're on, because you're off camera today. What's the biggest takeaway that's not Justin Fields related? Because I want to save him to the end, because I know we're gonna talk about that situation.
Clearly, it's the emergence of Jesper Horsted, isn't it? 3 touchdowns, and he was the one that caught that great pass we all saw. So, I think he played his way onto the roster. No, in all seriousness, I think the biggest takeaway is just how good all these rookies have looked so far. To the point, I mean, what are we at? 3 starting or 4 starting, and people clamoring for Fields to do likewise. I mean, again, just the possibility of this going down as an all-time great draft class.
You want to elaborate a little bit more on what rookies you're talking about? Or you just talking about quarterbacks?
Yeah, the starting quarterbacks. Yeah. Lawrence had a really nice week. Wilson has looked great so far this preseason. Lance has probably shown like he's got the farthest to go, but you can see him making some really nice plays too. Jones just got named starter in New England. Fields looks farther ahead than I was expecting. So just again, like the amount of talent in this class looks insane so far.
Okay. So speaking of rookie quarterbacks, PJ, I'm gonna go to you because one of my takeaways is this kind of they've been calling it platoon quarterbacking, or So what do you think about that? Just to start, if you even taking that seriously, and then talk to me a little bit about Trey Lance and what you're expecting over there on the Niners.
You have to catch him at the speed on platoon quarterbacking. I don't know what that is.
DJ, you smiling. You laugh at DJ. I want to hear you describe
it. So wait, he was serious? I thought he was joking. But so like it's no, you know what that is, because if you're a Niners fan, you saw Cap rotate in and out for a while, and now you seeing Trey Lance rotating in and out with Jimmy G. So pretty much you're gonna have, a dual quarterback type of situation until somebody emerges, and 9 times out of 10 it's always gonna be the young guy that they put on because they tired of the veteran. The last time we saw it was the Lamar Jackson, Joe Flacco thing, and we saw how that went. So yeah, that's what that is. And that's what Trey Lance too looked like. He kind of reminded me of like Cap. Like they both was really rough, strong arms, tall. Like it's like a flashback. It's like it's giving me that same type of situation with that same team. Now, of course, it's still in higher, all that good stuff, but I mean, Cap was like really one throw away from winning the Super Bowl. So, I mean, yeah, like that changed the whole narrative of everything. But yeah, that situation over there looks similar to back then.
Your thoughts, Prentice?
Okay, there we go. No, I mean it's I think you have good coaches that they got to find what they got and know what to use and when to use it. The thing about these young players in the NFL is you try to get them as many reps as possible. It's all about reps. You know, you got to get them up to the speed of the game. So it's that whole. I totally agree with the whole cap situation. I think you're going to see a similar situation to where it's the 49ers know what they got. It's just a matter of getting him ready for his time to go out there and be with the ones, because they know they got talent around him. It's just more getting him up to speed, make sure his playbook is so he know his playbook, he ready to go to fit in with the guys. Like I said, the locker room is galvanized around the dude, so it's only a matter of time before he slides into that role. And the head coach ain't gonna come out and say it now because he don't want to. It's almost no different from college football where you got a school that got two quarterbacks and the coach ain't going to announce the starter until 20 minutes before the game start. You don't want to break nobody's spirit. You're going to wait, hold it out as long as you can, announce a starter, and then it is what it is. But
yeah, I remember one year Harbaugh had like 3 guys he listed. It's going to be this guy or this guy or this guy.
Yeah,
Belichick did that this morning. He was like, Cam is heading in the right direction, and then like a couple hours later, he was cut. So like,
yeah, he's headed the right direction is out of Foxborough. That's the direction he's headed.
Yeah, but that whole situation is something that I'm sure Mike gonna lead us to that segue. But his situation a little bit different, I think, than everybody else.
Definitely. Yeah, I appreciate the takeaways. So I'll keep it to the quarterbacks real quick because I do agree that was the most interesting thing. We don't got to spend too much time on Lawrence, Zach Wilson, or Mac Jones because we now know Mac Jones is going to be starting, right? But if it's anything y'all got to say, DJ, anything you want to comment on any of them guys or any of the rest of y'all, and then y'all can throw the second-year guys in there too. Burrow made a brief appearance, so that was good to see. Tua, I kind of want to wait on Shane if we're gonna have a last word on Tua before the season start. Any other second year guys y'all can think of? Jordan Love, we talked about him too. So
that bonehead Packers writer said he outplayed Andy Dalton, and then the fact that we're trashing Dalton is just a self-own on us. He didn't even outplay Andy Dalton.
I mean, he played. Wait, who did outplay Andy Dalton?
Jordan Love.
Oh, Jordan Love. Yeah, Jordan Love only played like one game, really, and it wasn't. I mean, he looked
this
okay.
one where he had like the same stat line Dalton did against the Bills last week, and that heave back foot interception in the end zone.
Yeah, I'm not paying no attention to whoever said that, but like my takeaway is well, first off, I hate the NFL like cut process. Like I don't understand why it's a 53-man roster. That's a random number. And then you only dress in like 46, 47. So you still got guys that's gonna be inactive. One, why everybody just can't be active on game day, and two, why not expand the roster?
Because they don't have like an injured list. And
well, like they can do whatever they want to. Like they expanded the practice squad. It used to only be 7 players, now it's 16. So like if you want to just make guys inactive, then that. But like I don't understand. Like when I be looking at like the cut downs or the breaks of everything, like 53 is a random number, so they force you to do different things.
You can dress 46 on game day.
Yeah, so, like why not dress everybody? Like that don't make sense. Like that's not hurting nothing.
No, see you're right, and it's a relic of the time before they expanded practice squads and they expanded IR, because the NFL didn't used to have anything like that where guys could come off and on frequently like that. So it's kind of built into the roster, so everybody has the same number of players available on game day, because you couldn't put somebody on IR and have them come off later. So they had to sit up on your roster and take up a roster spot. If the NFL sticks with this, and I think they should have kind of something built in like that where, they can expand the rosters. And even if you just say like, okay, 50 guys on your active roster and you can go on and off IR or whatever, then yeah, that's probably a
I mean, they
better
could,
and less confusing way to
yeah,
do it.
yeah, they can like expand the rosters and do whatever, but then just make all the rules universal. I don't understand like why you have these guys making the team and then for whatever reason that week you be like, oh man, I got a cornerback down. So then now you sending a guy that may have getting tick, he not playing no more, and then you got to bring somebody else up or you got to make somebody else active. Like I don't get that. And then when I looked at the Bears breakdown, they had 5 tight ends and then 4 cornerbacks. That to me didn't make sense
7
because,
Well, that
inside linebackers.
huh?
7 inside linebackers I saw too.
Yeah, like I
How you have
mean,
7 inside linebackers and 4 corners?
yeah, I mean, of course
it's not going
with
to
them running
last
that,
like that.
yeah, like I know it's gonna change, but like right now,
Yeah.
the way I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, this
Like one
not
spot
really
will come
making,
open once
yeah,
they're able to actually put like Tevin Jenkins is going to be on the short term IR, but they can't start him off there like that. I think there's a couple other guys like that to where
but
um,
I think them backers though, they're gonna like just move them, like they're gonna move them in and out, and so like from for that standpoint, that's fine because some of those guys gonna be on the line, some of those guys going to be standing up, but for
yeah, who are
them
the
to,
7?
I don't got it
Uh,
like right in front of me, but that corner thing is what I really want to get to because why you got 5 tight ends? Now they offense is supposed to use tight ends. That's the hallmark of Nagy and them offense. Like
yeah,
if you look at the Chiefs, if you look at Philly, they do good with their tight ends, right?
well, it's
Same
really 4
systems.
tight ends though, right? Like it was Holtz was one of them. I'm assuming
Yeah, but
not
what
just for
is yeah,
JP
but
Holtz. JP Holtz is a
is he like
fullback,
the
really.
fullback? Okay, so like
Yeah.
all right,
So I mean, it's really 4
that's
tight
cool.
ends. It's
But like
Graham, Komet.
that four corners
Yeah.
scare me. That four corner thing scare me because like the quality of guys that they could get, and you got 2 weeks to like figure it out, and
Hmm.
then you telling Jalen Johnson to be, like you telling him to be the man, and I still don't know like right now how the corner on the side of him is going to look. And now we in a passing league, and so your nickel guy is just as important as your outside shut down corner because some of the best wideouts, what they do, they go in the slot and guys don't be traveling all the time with the
Hmm.
guys. And so like you need a good nickel. You need a good guy that's in the slot. And so for them right now, I guess they're gonna wait to pick guys up. But that fourth corner thing is like they need more depth, really, especially because Jalen Johnson got hurt last year.
Especially given the 4 guys that it is. I mean,
That too, the
you know,
quality of
neither Shelley nor Vilder did anything this preseason to give any sort of optimism.
yeah. So that was like my takeaway looking at my own team.
Frankly, the one guy I saw live that stood out a little bit was Tease Tabor.
But he got cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, like I said, that was one of the bright spots, and that was a guy they cut. So that, like I said, not the most confidence inspiring thing.
Yeah.
All right, so staying with the Bears, some more interesting takes. This quarterback situation. Schwab, I heard you say that he did better than you thought. So,
Not necessarily better, but looked more NFL ready. Like
well,
just
start off what you
going
said earlier.
through.
So, explain yourself.
I mean, as far as growing through the adjustment from the college game to the pro game, like we saw him get lit up that week against Buffalo. It's just a rookie mistake. Like I don't know whether it was he didn't have his checks right or just didn't see it coming, didn't anticipate whatever it was. Um, Things like that are what we're trying to avoid this year. But he's done a really great job keeping his eyes downfield. Game never really looks too big for him. The game speed, we all heard the quote, and he got raked over the coals for that by a couple of people, but he's looked capable of handling that for sure. I would like Dalton to be the guy this year and be good enough to continue to merit Nagy's faith in him, just so that Fields is not taking hits like that one in Buffalo. let's think like 10 years down the line instead of this year. But I mean, it's understandable why people want to see him start. That one throw he made in particular was, there's literally no other place he could have put that ball. It had to be inch perfect, and it was. I mean, it's like I'm not overly surprised by that in and of itself, because I said it's on the website in black and white that he's probably the most talented passer, pure passer in this class. But just the fact that he looks as, for lack of a better word, mature as he does, and mature as a player at least, it has been really positive to see.
DJ, your thoughts?
I'm not surprised at all. Like, I understand Schwab made his points, but like the whole city not getting excited and getting like the way that we are over a guy that we don't think can do everything that he can do. Like you said earlier,
I'm not
his
saying that he
clutch.
can't do it, that he's doing it as
No,
quickly as the
no,
thing.
but I thought that he was like, you don't trade all those picks up for a guy that you don't think can, unless you got like a backup plan, or unless you got like a system in place. Like, now, if you was talking about Trey Lance and then said all of that stuff, then I get that, but I wouldn't attribute all of that to like Justin Fields. One, because look at all of the tape, look at all of the defenses he played against, and it's all like on film. A guy like Trey Lance don't have as much film. And so
It's still
like,
college defenses though.
I mean, but still, like what you said, everything that you said, I would attribute to like a guy like Trey Lance. I wouldn't attribute to like a guy like Justin Fields. Like, he looked ready. Like, he looked mature. He looked everything. Just like we knew Trevor Lawrence was gonna be the number one pick like 2 years ago. Justin Fields was literally the number one prospect coming out of high school. So he's always been like that dude. And then of course, things happen. You leave college, blah blah blah. You leave schools, etc. And then so like when he got picked, it was like, well, what is everybody missing, or what is everybody not seeing, or whatever the case may be. But I thought that he was gonna look like that. The thing that scared me more than anything is like Nagy, his play calling, and like just like game situations, and not really being able to put him in the best position to be what he is. If I think about like how everybody reacted to us drafting Mitch versus to us drafting Fields, it's like night and day. And that's because we all are seeing the same thing. We seeing like a Deshaun Watson type of guy that got like looked over. And so like who got all this film, all this great tape, and then guys just like, no, that ain't good enough. And then he turned around and be a 4,000-yard passer. And so like,
I mean, at the same time too, though, how many draft class have you seen where a guy like Field is probably, I mean, if he's not the number one pick, he's certainly like the clear number two quarterback.
a guy like Fields, I don't know how many
I mean, if he
guys like
was,
him, but
if he had come out last year, he would have been second to Joe Burrow. At least
yeah,
I think. There's no way I would have put him ahead of Tua, or no, put Tua ahead of him rather.
yeah. If he'd came out last year, yeah, I would have put him behind Joe Burrow.
Yeah, and
Joe
that's,
Burrow won the Heisman, and but he probably would have got drafted
he would have got drafted
he would
high.
have got drafted
It's an
he would have got
instance of like
drafted like in
an
the top
a
five.
historic quarterback class.
Yeah, but
So
then
that
but
plays
like
into it.
but thing was is that like they had to trade up to get him to get into that spot, and then you draft Trey Lance, who played one game, and then BYU buddy that like played that schedule, and then it's like, okay, like what is like really like going on, versus like if you're gonna look at the college defenses and the college tape, which that's all you got, who played against the better defenses and who got the better tape, and he beat Trevor Lawrence head to head. So I don't really understand what happened with all of this stuff, and so like it's a mystery. I'm just happy he fell to my team, but I just do not get it, because usually you don't see like what we saw, like the Bears been able to trade up and get a guy with that much talent. Like they was able to trade up and get a guy with like that much talent.
That's because people nitpick game film, and they, instead of looking for the good, they focus on the bad. And a guy like Watson and a guy like Fields fall in the draft. I mean, you go back and you go watch that national championship with Alabama and Clemson. That game's a classic. It's clear as day that Watson was the best player on the field. I mean, there was no question about it. There was no
Both
reason.
of them, both
Yeah,
years.
right. There's no reason that man shouldn't have been a top 5 draft pick, but they focused on his junior year and the amount of interceptions he threw, yada, yada, yada. But I mean, you had an Alabama team full of first round draft picks, and you had Deshaun Watson on the other side, and he was the best player on the field. So there was no, I mean, it's, you get guys that get paid to wear suits, that they get paid millions of dollars, and they go out there and they make these decisions. But as long as your player pan out, ain't nobody gonna focus on you passing on Watson. But in the Bears instance, you took Trubisky, and Watson has done what he done. So, and the Bears can make up for it in Fields
On the field. Let's clarify on the field. Deshaun Watson doing the things
But
he's
like,
done.
so like, but like, I think,
we ain't gonna go there without all
yeah,
that.
but
Right.
like, I think like it's like if you like you write about what you said about Watson, and then they did focus on that, but I'm like, it don't make sense because the bar is not equal for every quarterback. Like it's always like one of these black quarterbacks who they like mismanage and they just do all these things, and then like unless it's like their guy, like they love Trey Lance. So whatever reason, like they was like, oh, this guy's gonna be the best, in our, the best fit for our system. Cool, but like, what more film? Like, what are you really looking at when you comparing Zach Wilson to Justin Fields, and will make you say, man, I really want the guy that was only good for like a year. Like, I really want that guy, not the guy that just beat the number 1 draft pick, not the guy that had that crazy season that was throwing touchdowns with broken ribs. Let me get this guy that just had this amazing season against Coastal Carolina and Albany State and all them guys like that. He was playing all year, but not the dude that like beat all these first round draft picks on defense. Not that guy. Let's go get this guy. Like, I don't understand the logic behind it. And even when the Bears
Well, you understand it.
like
You know the truth behind it. I mean,
like,
you know the truth behind it. You beating around the bush, and I understand why. I know, but we know the truth. I mean,
We're gonna have to check in with our fans. Maybe we get us a show with Prentice and DJ talking about some more specific topics.
You know, DJ know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
like,
Or maybe we get us a segment like y'all know what we're talking about. Y'all know what we say.
You saw the bullshit rumors come out about Fields. Oh, he the first one, he the last one in, first one out. This shit come out of nowhere. You know,
That was bad.
Come on now. We know the truth.
Yeah. Because I don't always want to be that guy, but like, I gotta call it like how I see it, and like, for the life of me, I still can't like think. And Zach Wilson can be cold, like he can be straight, but like it's the Jets, dog. Like, I don't really trust nothing that the Jets do. So like,
49ers too. I still don't understand why his name never came up as much.
Oh yeah, me either. Because they went to go. Yeah, they went to go see Mac Jones. Like, they was there for his pro day, but yeah, like his name didn't come up really for them none. Like, I didn't hear it.
To the end of it. Yeah, at the end it was well, we had Lance and we looked at Fields. Mac Jones wasn't really who we looked at, but that's I just don't think they gave Fields the look that he rightfully deserved, I guess.
And I don't know why, because they looked at Lance, and Lance didn't have as much tape, and he was playing against like way less like competition, and so like, you really like, it be guys that be trying to like, all right, we gonna sleep on this guy, or we gonna like not pick this guy, and then it be them other guys where they be like, okay, at the one workout, that's it. Like, it be like that whole like that. I ain't gonna say this Lance, but it be that whole like Darko versus like Mello thing. Like, everybody thought that, oh, okay, cool. Like, all this tape, all this film on this guy, we gonna get this guy because he had a good workout. And for the life of me, I don't be understanding why they just don't trust, what they saw. Like, when you see a guy, dominate, first round draft picks multiple years or whatever, like, that's the guy versus, oh yeah, this guy got an arm. Like, it's only one Patrick Mahomes that they took, and it was like, oh yeah, okay, like not too many people was like, yeah, this is the guy, but he had enough college film, but did we know did who else besides the Chiefs knew that he was gonna be that guy? If that was the case, he would have been the number one. He would have been the number one pick. But I mean, like, I think everybody is looking for that. Like, oh yeah, they slept on him. Let's go get him. Versus, I mean, taking the safe pick. Like, could you win a Super Bowl with like a Deshaun Watson versus a Patrick? Yeah, like you can win it. You get Watson enough talent around him, like he can win a Super Bowl. And for most teams, if you win one, your fan base set for a while. So, like, I don't know, man.
All right, y'all. So talked a lot about the college football. So we're going quarterbacks and recent quarterbacks and stuff. So we're going to segue right into college football. Once again, this is the Good Podcast. Tuned in with PJ, DJ, and the Schwab. Still haven't seen Shane. Y'all heard from Shane, man? Is he all right? I know he drafted fantasy football or something, so I don't know. Maybe he accidentally drafted Tim Tebow or something at tight end. I'm not sure. But all right, so let's talk about the rankings. So I got the rankings up here. No surprise to see Alabama at the top. Of the AP poll. Really, the only differences between the AP poll and the coaches poll in the top five. AP poll has Oklahoma second and Clemson second. I'm sorry, Clemson third, and then the coaches poll has Clemson second, Oklahoma third. And then rounding out Ohio State 4 and Georgia 5. So, PJ, I'm gonna kick it over to you first. Let's talk rankings first. And then, if you want to talk more into some teams that you see snuck in the top 25 as well, or anything that you see interesting, let me know what you're thinking of.
Not buying the Oklahoma hype. Not buying that at all. I'm not buying the Clemson hype either. Georgia seems to be the one that is not getting talked about enough. I think they got a lot of talent coming back. They got a serviceable quarterback this year. The question is, can the head coach, can he finally get over the hump? Can he finally win the big game to get him in the spot where he need to be? I'm seeing a lot of noise out there about Alabama. Just this is the year that they fall off a cliff, and I'm not buying that shit one bit.
No, they're not gonna fall off a cliff.
Yeah, I just don't see a Nick Saban coach team fall off the cliff. They may have some issues. They may run into some tough spots. You're not going to see some massacres that I think you've seen in years past.
No, the worst case scenario there is probably like what they were a couple of years ago, where they missed the playoffs. But I mean, even that year they weren't terrible.
Even to rank them number one and say you got them missing the playoff. I mean, so are we ranking them number one because they fresh off a national championship? Or
Yes.
are we keeping it real, saying this is what they got based on talent? I mean, there's questions across the board with every team in the top 25. I mean, Bama don't have a quarterback; they lost a lot of talent. Clemson lost Lawrence. Ohio State don't have a quarterback for the first time, and who knows what. Texas A&M is in the top 6. They lost Kellen Mond, so it's like Notre Dame's 9th, don't have a quarterback. North Carolina lost two tailbacks to the NFL. They got a quarterback that's back, but it's not much. I don't think the cupboard is full there. So it's like there's a lot of question marks. I think if there's a year where you see some inconsistencies with the playoffs, like you can get to the last week 13, 14, 15, you're going to see some teams like an Iowa State maybe with a chance to sneak into the playoff. It wouldn't surprise me this year.
Schwab, you chimed in a little bit. Let's hear your thoughts.
No, I think that it pretty much nailed it. It should be fun because it's for the first time in a long time. It seems like it really is wide open this year. I think Bama's got enough talent and coming off the national title, and Nick Saban's still there, that I think that gets you number one in the preseason rankings, and kind of understandably so. I am buying the Oklahoma hype, unless that defense could come back to bite them though. That's my only thing there. DJ Uyagale looked capable last year against Notre Dame when he was pressed into action. I don't think Clemson will be terrible, and I think if you were looking for a team that's been there that could, stay at that level, I'm surprised Clemson didn't get more number one votes. To be honest with you, just for that reason that out of the powers as of late, anyway, they've got the closest thing to a sure quarterback. Ohio State with Stroud, we'll see there. I think they should win that conference easily, though, just because that not anybody else I see that should be anything resembling a threat. Wisconsin was ranked 12th. I don't buy them much at all. I think they got ranked way too high. Indiana.
Stop it. I know why you're saying that. Stop it.
Stop what?
You're Michigan bias.
I'm not putting them in the top 25 either.
Ooh. Okay.
Indiana, I think they're primed for a letdown after last year. Penn State, I don't know. They're borderline top 25 team, I think, maybe. And I think the Big Ten's got a few of those. I mean, if things go right for Michigan, they could be probably around that level. Somebody that I'm expecting to compete with Ohio State, no. So you take the good and the bad there if you're an Ohio State fan. On the one hand, on paper, they should run away with that conference. On the other hand, if they slip up and they drop one, that might be enough to keep them out of the playoff because they're not going to have a whole lot of quality wins this year. And it's not really their fault. It's just I think the rest of the conference stinks.
Hopefully Oregon is good because we're going to kick their ass at Ohio State, and that might have to end up being a signature win. Penn State, we're going to kick Michigan ass at Michigan. So for nostalgia purposes, that's a goal to start too, right?
Oregon's another one I'm not sure that I buy.
Yeah, I don't buy nobody in the Pac-12. What the funny thing too is
it's all over. It's no outright person. It's not no outright team this year.
No, and the thing is, if you get week one where you get let's say Alabama struggle with Miami, and then you get week two where Ohio State look human versus Oregon, everybody gonna get excited because now it really look wide open. You know what I'm saying? You got Clemson and Georgia week two, so you might as well the loser of that game already getting talked about. So it's it get real pretty early.
I don't think so. I mean that one, Clemson and Georgia. I think
you get talked about. I didn't say it was over. I said you get talked about.
It's over.
It's not over. Not with those two. No.
Georgia lose that game, it's over with for them.
No. Well,
I think Clemson will be in a tougher spot than Georgia would be because Georgia can make it up in that conference.
Absolutely. I think Georgia, even if they lose one in the conference too, if you're talking about Georgia come playoff time, let's say they lose to I don't have their schedule in front of me, but I don't know if they play between A&M and Bama or LSU or Florida, one of these high-ranked teams. I think a two-loss Georgia, if those are your two losses, yeah, they're getting in. I mean, unless
two losses.
I don't know about this year with it being so open because of the Cincinnati sitting there undefeated.
I was just about to say Cincinnati, Iowa State.
Unless Cincinnati runs it, unless Ohio State runs it, I don't think either one of them can afford a loss, except maybe Ohio State to Oregon. Clemson, I think that game, you're right, means a lot more to Clemson because if they lose to Georgia, I don't see that Carolina's sitting there. That becomes an absolute must-win.
Right.
No two-loss team has made it ever, so just consider that.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. Like PJ said, if you look at the top six, like four of those teams is having new quarterbacks starting. So I think that's what's gonna open it up. And then all other teams that brought back their quarterbacks, everybody not sold on them, like Oklahoma, Somebody mentioned North Carolina, like they got guys that they saying is gonna win the Heisman, but we still not really sold on those teams. Like Jason White not walking through that door for Oklahoma, and nobody really never took like North Carolina football seriously. So, like I think this year is gonna be like real open, and I don't necessarily know if like the early losses is gonna put all of like the teams out because I feel like other teams in their conferences are going to like trip up and then they're gonna have a bad loss at the end of the year, and then their team just gonna be sitting there who lost in week two, like a Georgia who lost in week one or week two. They're gonna be able to jump up, but like Georgia, they just got to do it, man. That's a um loser state. The Falcons lost. They choked it away a couple years. Like they just got to do it. Like and I just saying people was like, well they under the radar. They sitting right there. They always just right. That's right there. They get some of the best talent too, but it's like in those SEC championships or like the games to get them to the playoffs, that's when they choke. That's when they don't close the deal. And so like they gonna be there, but it's like, are they gonna actually close it? Texas A&M, they might be a fraud, but we'll see. And I feel like one of those teams like Iowa State or Cincy would just be sitting there. And as long as they don't like, trip up, they might get that 4 spot and really get something that they've been acting for the past couple of years.
I'm
Georgia,
buying
Georgia just stick out to me so much. I just think if there's a year for them to finally win it, it's got to be now. It's got to be this year.
They should have won it against Bama.
Yeah, they should have. They definitely should have. They blew that one. But it's like here's
Yeah.
another chance. Here's another chance to go get it. Like everybody
Yeah.
around you ain't as strong.
Yeah,
Go get it.
they right there. Are they in the East and then Bama in the West, or are they in the same?
Yeah, they in the East.
Okay, so like,
Ain't nobody else in the East worth a fuck other than Florida.
okay, yeah. Whereas LSU, I ain't really like sold on
They in
them,
the West.
but they're in the West, all right.
Yeah, LSU and Texas A&M in the West.
Okay. Yeah, so that's gonna be interesting to see how that like break out. But yeah, like Georgia, they just gotta go get it, man. They're gonna be right there, regardless of what happened in this early game. Like I still feel like they're gonna be right there.
How about any sleepers? You got any of those?
Well, I'm buying the Oklahoma hype. I just want to speak on that. Schwab, you said you're not so sure about Oklahoma defense. You ain't
I'm
rocking
not
with my
sure
boy
about
Alex.
anybody Pac-12 or Big 12 defense.
You not rocking with my boy
Iowa State.
Alex Grinch over there. You don't think that could be the top, and get them wins in the Big 12?
I don't know,
Boy,
man.
Alex Grinch, who coached under Urban Meyer 1 year at Ohio State, got Nick Bosa to where he is. You know what I'm saying? That's who I'm rocking with. Look, I like Rattler, so I'm rocking with Rattler for Heisman and Oklahoma to win it all this year. That's what I'm on. So we can start. We can talk conferences. We can talk sleepers. Schwab, did you have a sleeper that you
Yeah, who's
want
your sleeper, Kevin?
The one I'm kind of looking at is North Carolina, because I mean, there's Clemson sitting right there, and they've been on top, and I think Uiagalelei is going to be a very good quarterback, but Sam Howell's already won, and I think the experience could end up swinging that one because it's again, I don't see a whole lot of talent in that conference as a whole to where that could really come down to that one game. 'Cause I don't know where it's at this year, but it would not shock me to see Carolina pull the upset. And if they do, I think that's the path to the playoff is pretty well paved for them.
I think Miami. I got Miami as a sleeper. I said I thought there was some value in their quarterback for some type of high consideration, but
they're Georgia with swag left from the 80s.
You said what?
I said they're Georgia with swag left from the 80s. That's all Miami is. Perennial choke artists.
No, I mean, I'm not disagreeing. The ball just got to bounce your way one year. It can happen. I mean, I expect them to lose to Bama week 1, but if that's one of them situations where they come out and they lose by 6, 7 points, and they get a little bit of confidence, a quarterback get rolling. I mean, they ranked in the top 15 for a reason. They got talent over there.
If you're looking for an upset, I think week 1 that could be it. Bama, I would not shock me if the team with some experience with the established quarterback already pulled the upset on the team that's probably still going to be looking to gel together.
That would be one of the biggest upsets I think I've seen in week 1.
For sure.
What's the line on that?
Miami is 19.5-point dogs. So, and me and Shane gonna talk more betting. So Schwab, you want to jump on there and get people to Miami right now? I'm looking at FanDuel Sportsbook. They're plus 680. So if you want to convince people to join on there and drop.
All right, what are we talking about here? What are we on? I want to give some takes before I got to get back to my draft. I want to give a take. Give me something here.
College football sleeper, Shane.
Sleeper? That's tough. I guess I'll say North Carolina.
Wow.
Because like everybody just kind of pencils in Clemson to win the ACC without any type of struggle. And Trevor Lawrence is gone, man. So is ETN. And, the preacher, Dabo, he got exposed big time in that game against Ohio State last year. I don't know. I think North Carolina is well coached. I think they just continue to reload receiver, running back talent. They got an NFL quarterback in Sam Howell. I'm not saying like I'm running to the betting window to throw down on North Carolina, but I think they're live. They're certainly live in the ACC.
So Schwab just said North Carolina is his sleeper. So
Schwab said that too?
Yep.
Wow. I swear I did not hear that. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it makes sense. And I think maybe I'm a little biased too, just because I want to see Dabo lose. So,
that's
maybe
fair.
that doesn't.
What's funny, it was all three of us picked a team from the ACC, and I think in a year where it looks so open and Clemson don't look so invincible, like that's the league to pick the team from.
So did you? How about Florida State? Because yesterday, I mean, I opened my Snapchat and I see you riding down the highway, screaming the Florida State fight song in your car as loud as you can. Like, are you buying them, or are you just setting yourself up for disappointment?
I'm setting myself for disappointment. I'm really thinking about booking a flight to Tallahassee and being in Doak Campbell Monday night to catch the game live. But I'm gonna be very disappointed to fly out there to watch them get beat 47 to.
Yeah,
to
this Mackenzie Milton guy, he's like Alex Smith. He's got a bionic leg.
You don't have to get disrespectful.
Well, I mean, the last time I saw him, he was getting carted off. I thought he was dead.
I mean, same thing. I watched the game live. It didn't look good. I'm glad that he's our co-starting quarterback.
The what?
Yeah, he's they're listed 1A, 1B on the depth chart. So we'll see
Right.
come Monday night how that plays out.
Well, you know what you say, when you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one.
Well,
Right.
when you're a college program and you got a sophomore that played a lot as a freshman, once you announce him as a backup, he transfers. So you just hold him off as long as possible is all that is.
Yeah.
But he knows he's the backup then. What do you think? Like he can't
I'm
figure
sure
it
he
out in practice?
I'm sure he know that, but the coach don't say it, so you don't just transfer without a coach coming out and saying it out of his mouth.
What is this? Like you're trying to trick a 5-year-old into eating his vegetables? Like, no, that's not broccoli, that's candy. I'm not stupid.
I don't know what go through these kids' mind, bro.
Hey, Shane just got off. So, DJ, you got a sleeper for me?
I'm gonna go with Cincinnati to make it like as a 4 seed because I feel like the other teams, like in the top 5, top 6, they might beat up on each other, and I picked them to like run a conference and sneak in with probably going undefeated. So yeah, that's what I picked. I know Iowa State sitting there.
You got them beat Notre Dame?
Huh?
You got them beat Notre Dame?
Man, get Notre Dame out of here. Yes, I got
Yeah,
them
I
beating
feel
Notre
you.
Dame. Yes, I got them because I be just tired of watching like Notre Dame. Like they play they play the schedule that they play, and then they get to beat up on the Pac-12 and then Army and Navy every year, and then they be undefeated, and then they go to the playoffs, and then they get smacked. Like this not the '80s or '91 or whatever. Like this ain't that. And so they've been living off that for a very long time, and I'm just tired of watching Notre Dame lose in all these games. Like I feel like they're really like a waste of a spot. Like I don't know what's going on with their recruiting. They don't appeal to like all the guys that they need to, and so they really haven't changed their image or tried to do different things that's going to get them there. Other than them being like a independent school and being able to be out there. Like they got really good TV contracts. Like they're not able to get the guys to able to compete with these other schools and every
No,
like but
absolutely. They're Michigan that doesn't have to compete with Ohio State in a conference.
pretty much, and that's kind of like where they are. But they're gonna get ranked all like pretty much off of their name. Like they're gonna get ranked in the top 25 year after year, and then beat up on these schools. And then when it's time to play somebody serious, they don't have the horses. And so like I'm really tired of like watching them play like meaningful games because to me it's a waste of a spot. I'd rather feel like a school like Cincy who may not have a shot get there 1 year and then like the next year you get an Iowa State get in there versus Notre Dame just get a pass and they ain't really done nothing in the past 20 something years. Like I'm really tired of watching them to be honest. So I will pick them to beat them. I ain't gonna bet, but I want them to beat them. So yeah, I'll pick them to beat them.
Be careful what you wish for on the non-traditional powers make it into the playoff because Michigan State made it that 1 year and they scored as many points as I did.
Yeah, that was bad, but yeah, I don't hate Michigan State as much as I'm tired of watching Notre Dame play because Notre Dame didn't been in at least three of these things and haven't showed up. At least all these other schools they don't get the chance to show up like maybe every 5 or 6 years when one of them get to sneak in. Like that Michigan State year, I'm pretty sure you don't know that, but I can tell you Notre Dame just lost a lot to Bama. Like they wasn't even in that game and every couple of years they get to sneak their way on in there, whereas these other schools not really getting no shot. And I know it's not fair. It's about everything else, but like it ain't right when you seeing like Notre Dame not really playing nobody, and the Pac-12 ain't being what it's been, and so they would play them, and they'll beat up on them and whoever else they playing, Army, Navy, and them guys. But when they got to play against some real comp, like they are not there and they
Yeah,
steady get opportunities to be there for what they living off that legacy.
it was fun watching them get taken out behind the woodshed in 2012, though, just because just being in this area and it's a ton of Notre Dame fans, and I went to IU Bloomington. I was there at the time, which is a ton of Notre Dame football fans because you're looking for something to do until basketball starts, and I'm getting told all over the place. Yeah, they can beat Bama. They can beat Bama. Bama lost the game that year. Yeah, they lost it to Johnny 8-Ball, Johnny Football. Sorry, we all know what's going on there. But no, and I'm telling you, no. Okay, this is a team that barely beat Pittsburgh, a terrible Pittsburgh team at the time, and they got lucky like 2 or 3 other times that year. I think that was the year they beat Michigan by 6 points, and Michigan had 7 turnovers. I mean, I might have those numbers reversed, but it should have been by a lot more if the team was as good as people were trying to tell me they were. Then, and I'll never forget too, because this was back in the days of Twitter just being the Wild West, the jokes that were flying that night. Like that game wasn't 5 minutes old. Someone tweeted, "Yeah, I'll just leave it run," and quotes the Notre Dame bus driver. Things like that is just everything coming together perfectly to just everybody laugh at Notre Dame.
So I have a sleeper. My sleeper is Ole Miss.
He just groaned. He just made noise. He just groaned.
So
Hold on. Before you really buying the Lane train, you buying it. You on board.
dog,
I
that
think
game
extremely hard
last
for
year against
sleepers.
Alabama at Ole Miss was fire. That game was fire. Now, he
Yes, it
did
was.
give up 63 points and like 700 yards. But that was to Najee Harris
Such a tough
with Mac
conference.
Jones. The receiver core, y'all know the receiver core. I don't think Waddle played. I think Waddle did play that game. But that game was fire. So yes, I'm on the Lane train. They if you look at Ole Miss's schedule, so PJ, it's kind of like how you've been saying that it's like if Alabama take that one loss or something, a team can sneak in. I don't think it has to be Georgia. It could be Ole Miss. Ole Miss has Louisville. They're away in Louisville to start. That's that night game Monday, Labor Day. Watch that game if you get a chance. Watch that game. They got Alabama on the road. They can beat Alabama on the road. They're gonna win the SEC. They got Liberty at home, and I'm gonna talk a little about Liberty quarterback in a little bit because I don't know who been watching. And they only had one loss last year, and that was to NC State, by the way, by 1 point. So, and that's Hugh Freeze. So I ain't gonna give Hugh Freeze too many props. And, we talk about Ole Miss, but yeah, that's my squad though, man. That's what I'm rolling with. So hey, week 1, I might be eating crow. You know what I'm saying? Right after that, Louisville might pop up. I don't know, but I'm riding with Ole Miss as my sleeper this year. I'm jumping out there, and check out what I think about betting on Ole Miss with the SEC on Good If It Goes betting this Thursday.
I'll say this: Ole Miss in a month spans got at Tennessee, LSU, at Auburn, at Liberty, and then Texas A&M.
They play Liberty at home.
I'm saying, but that's their stretches of game.
Yeah. They got Alabama 2 weeks before that Tennessee game. So, and I think they can win. I think those are all winnable games. I'm on a Lane train, man. Schwab, you blew your breath, man. I gotta hear from you. Think of my pick.
Yeah, I have a hard time picking a sleeper from the SEC just because it's such a difficult conference. There's so many great teams in it. I said North Carolina because I don't think there's a whole lot of talent in the ACC that they have to go through. And then the team that's been on top is replacing their quarterback. If they were in the SEC, not a chance would I pick them just because you got to deal with Bama, you got to deal with Georgia, Florida, A&M. I'm not a big believer in A&M this year having to replace Kellen Mond, but they should still be tough to deal with. I think LSU could surprise a lot of people. I'm not calling them a sleeper because I don't expect them to be like really in the running for the conference championship, but I could see them being a top 10 team when all said and done. Who else? Did I say Florida? I think I said Florida already. Who else in the top 25 there? That was in the top 25. But then even they're not. I mean, Liberty shouldn't be terrible. You got the quarterback there that could make that game tough. It's just such a murderer's row that they got to deal with it. That's why I wouldn't call them a sleeper or put any sort of money or hope onto them.
All right, so that sound like we get into a little conference talk. So SEC. Let me hear y'all picks for SEC. Anybody jump in? Go in the SEC.
I'm gonna go with Georgia. I think this is the year that they have enough to put it all together to win the conference. God, that's tough. I mean, Bama's still got so much talent left, but question marks at the quarterback position. I'm going with the guy that I trust a little bit more, Georgia in the SEC, even if I don't trust their coach.
I'm gonna just stick with Bama until somebody beat them.
That's fair too.
Georgia, I want them to finally do it, but they be choke artists.
That's absolutely fair.
So yeah, Texas A&M. Like, all right, so yeah, I'm gonna just stick with Bama until somebody beat them. Which I do hope somebody beat them, but yeah, you got to go and get it. So, but I'm gonna just stick with Bama.
I said the beauty of these early games is you get to learn about a team real quick. And when Georgia got Clemson, this coming Saturday, you're gonna learn a lot about them real quick and what they gonna do this year. So we'll see. I think it's gonna be a good year for Georgia. If you get to Atlanta undefeated and you get Bama in the SEC championship, you getting in the playoffs regardless, or whoever they get in the SEC championship, whether it's Texas A&M or I think the schedule's favorable. I mean, like I said, ain't nobody in the East really that good. Florida lost a lot, but other than that, I mean, they got Carolina, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, and Auburn from the West, and Florida and Tennessee, Mississippi. So I mean, they can run the table. They just got to win week 1, and then you'll know all about them. But Georgia just got a habit of just blowing one. So we'll see how they do this year.
PJ Shane, SEC.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll just, no need to spend too much time on this one. These guys all made the right points. I'm certainly not going to pick against Alabama until I see somebody in the SEC beat them for the conference. But this game Saturday, man, with Georgia and Clemson, that's a playoff game, right? That's a playoff game. That's
what I said.
I don't mean playoff game as in, the loser's screwed, but
that's what I meant.
Well, I just think there's two. No, I mean, if Georgia wins, and like PJ said, if Georgia wins and then they run the SEC table, but they lose Alabama in the championship, then they're still a playoff team, right? I don't see how they wouldn't be. But if they lose, they're going to have to probably then beat Bama just to get in. I don't see Clemson. Like, I gave North Carolina as a sleeper, but I'm not picking them to beat Clemson. Like, I don't think Clemson will lose a game in the ACC. So Clemson could lose this game Saturday, run the table. They're still in. So that's not really why I'm buying. Not really buying it as like an elimination game. I think you can really solidify yourself with a win. Like it means so much more just a win. Like you lose, you're still alive, but you win, man. I mean, you especially Clemson.
You think Clemson still get in? Because Clemson won't play another team ranked in the top 25 the rest of the year.
I don't think it matters. You still run your conference.
You got to beat.
I don't think
you got to beat somebody.
But if then we're having the conversation of, okay, well now it's coming down to Clemson, Cincinnati, they're going to put Clemson in. We know that this is not whether what's right and wrong is irrelevant. That they're going to put Clemson in.
If Cincinnati beat Notre Dame and Clemson's biggest win is, I mean, if you look at their schedule, bro, it's nothing. I mean, it is nothing.
Yeah, when is Clemson's schedule ever not nothing?
They play somebody tough at the beginning of the year every year. I give them credit for that. I mean, usually they'll run against a Louisville or a Florida State or Miami or somebody in the ACC is ranked. But
I see what I get your point.
They have nobody this year.
But I still think it would be very hard for the committee to leave a one-loss Clemson out of the playoff.
They don't play Miami?
No, Miami's on the other side.
But Oklahoma's winning the national championship anyway, so all this is for nothing.
Fuck out of here.
And I gave this out. The way this line has moved, I gave this out on me and Mike's first show back in like June. I gave out Oklahoma at 8-1. Now they're like plus 450 everywhere. Like the hype on Oklahoma is legitimate and it's fair. They're very well coached. They got the Heisman favorite. They've got their toughest conference games are at home. They're going to run the table. The Oklahoma's, I said this on the show with Mike, and I'm saying it again. Oklahoma is undefeated throughout the entire season and championship.
Not a believer in Iowa State.
No, I am a believer in Iowa State. I am. They're damn good.
We're gonna come back to the conferences. Let's wrap up the SEC championship first, and then we'll go to the next conference.
Mike, who's your pick?
Well, DJ picked Bama, right? Yeah, you said you wanted to wait to see somebody would beat them. So yeah, my sleeper was Ole Miss, but I'm picking Alabama too. So, all right, where y'all want to go next? I heard y'all talking Big 12, and I heard y'all talking Big 10. Where you want to go next, Shane? While you're here?
I mean, I'll just finish what I was saying in the Big 12. It's Oklahoma, and Iowa State is getting a lot of hype, and that's justified. They're very well coached. They got a great quarterback, and they're
the best coach team in that conference. Best coach team in that conference.
Okay, I don't know if I respect that. I'd give the edge to Lincoln Riley over Matt Campbell.
Yeah,
but I don't hate that.
Campbell over
I'm
Riley,
okay with that.
I don't think it's. I mean, it's close. I wouldn't say it's like definitive or anything.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, they're both very well coached teams. And I think everybody agrees it's a 2-team race. But I will just default to Oklahoma gets that game at home. That's the difference for me. Like, college football is back as far as home field, man. Like, we got to keep remembering that. Like, these crazy stadiums are crazy again. And I don't see Iowa State don't.
Right now, though, while it's hot. But as this Delta continue to grow, I don't know if we're gonna be saying that in November.
We're talking Oklahoma. We're talking fucking hillbillies. You think they give a shit about Delta? They can't even spell Delta in Oklahoma. All they know is football. All they know is football and tornadoes.
All right. So any of y'all fans of Oklahoma watching, we know y'all love y'all some football. We know y'all love basketball. Shout out Trae Young. I know you watch it too. All right. Prentice, Big 12 pick.
Oklahoma, man. I mean, I think they're going to win it, but I think that game towards the end of the year versus Iowa State will probably be that conference championship game. I can see Oklahoma winning that conference, but that ain't telling me shit.
All right, DJ.
I'm gonna go with Oklahoma too, but like TJ said, I don't think it really means too much. Oklahoma 0-4 in the playoffs, so now all of a sudden they're gonna win the national championship. Like, I don't know, bro. They haven't won it in, I don't know, maybe since like 2000 or something. And so, but as far as them winning it, yeah, I think Iowa State is gonna be good, and then that's going to be a real good matchup. But what happens is that they win their conference, and then they get to the playoffs, and because nobody in their conference actually, got them ready for these playoffs, they end up not winning. And so I feel like it's gonna be the same type of deal. Yeah.
Schwab, Big 12.
Oklahoma. We touched on everything already.
No surprises there.
Oklahoma, Mike?
Yeah, Oklahoma. I got them running the table. We'll talk more. But Shane,
I will say this, Mike. Like, I think somebody brought it up on one of the last pods. We were talking about Oklahoma, and it's definitely a fair point. They like to find ways to randomly lose a home game at noon on Saturday when they're 22-point favorites against like fucking Kansas State or something. They need to dodge that, obviously, that crazy upset.
It'd be TCU in 2005 all over again.
But I'm a believer in Rattler, and I think Lincoln Riley's just. I think this is their year. I think all the stars are aligning, and if it's ever going to happen, like, it's this year. If not this year, then it ain't happening.
I think they got enough talent to avoid that the massive upset. Even if they squeak it out, they'll find a way. I think this year at least.
All right, we'll go on to Big 10. DJ, I'll start with you. Who you got there?
Ohio State. That's pretty much it. I already see too many people in that conference really doing too much with them. Although it's questions at quarterback, of course, but they load up so well. Always got a top recruiting class. And I feel like this year's gonna be no different. They're gonna be able to win their conference without too much problem.
Prentice, Big Ten.
Same. Ohio State. I mean, I think Penn State will be that's always a tough matchup for them late in the year, middle of the year. I don't know if it's at Ohio State or Penn State this year. Look like it's at Ohio State. But like I said, the questions just revolve around Ohio State quarterback. Just is he the guy? Is he going to be the one that's going to run the system? But as far as that league, I mean, you still got some teams that'll be competitive. IU will be competitive. Purdue, Northwestern, Wisconsin. But I just don't think anybody have the NFL level type talent like Ohio State got, and I think that set them apart from everybody else.
Shane.
Piggyback these guys. Ohio State not close. They're not going to lose a game in conference. I think we need to start. We really need to start talking about the Big Ten as we do with Clemson and the ACC. Like it's Ohio. Like Ohio State is just going to run this conference for years. Like they are. It's like this is a damn good program, and they just reload, man. Like you look at some of these other Big Ten teams that are good, but then they'll have down years. Ohio State is turned into like a team you can just pencil them in to just reload. It's not even. It's like Ryan Day has done a fantastic job, obviously, but Urban basically laid the foundation for like what this program is, and they're just going to keep getting better and better. I don't see them how they lose a game in conference.
Yeah.
I think the inexperience at quarterback, they could get tripped up once, not enough to where it's going to cost them the conference. But yeah, they're going to win it. I think I could see it even being wrapped up before the game against Michigan. I could see Michigan maybe pulling the upset if Harbaugh. I think he's coaching for
Knock
his
it the
job.
fuck off. Knock it the fuck off, bro.
Well, if you let me finish, I was gonna say that's a long shot at best.
All right, bro.
No,
Ryan Day
nobody's
said he's putting 100 points on Michigan.
Well, Ryan Day is wrong.
No, he ain't fucking wrong. When he get a chance to blow y'all the fuck out, he's going to do it, and it's coming. You count your fucking days.
This ain't the year, though. I mean,
it is. They'll be lucky if they come within 3 touchdowns, and I believe that Ohio State they're going to go undefeated. And this is my team, and it's like I keep it real when it comes to Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? They're going to win every game. I wouldn't be surprised if they won. They're going to go undefeated in the Big Ten. Penn State will probably be the only game that's maybe close. And every other game they'll cover. And they'll probably win by 3 touchdowns or more. They'll all be 3-score games except for probably Penn State.
I will not agree with the fact that every game they will cover. Those lines are going to be jacked up.
Yep.
Like you're not going to get any type of. Remember, the spread is the great equalizer, right? So you're going to set up every Ohio State game is going to be lined 3-4 points more than it should because they're that good and because everybody's going to bet them
by points. Man. They're gonna win most of their games by 3 scores. It's not going to be close. Wisconsin, I'd like Wisconsin, but it just ain't happening. And I mean, I want to look at teams like Iowa. Iowa is a good program, but Ohio State is just a different class, right? It's just a different class right now.
It's amazing to watch watch the speed difference between Ohio State and some of these other Big Ten teams. It's like they're playing a different sport. It's like they're playing a different sport.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. The disparities is just it's like you said, Shane. The Clemson is just the outlier. It's just one just really, really good team and a bunch of other just good to mediocre.
Agreed.
And frankly, this was one of the things that I've touched on with like talking about Fields needing to get ready was like his guys are going to be going up against other good players now. It's not just like you got your players that are 10 times better than whoever they're going up against. But I digress. That's a whole separate thing.
But like he played a couple of good defenses in the Big Ten. Also, he played Clemson. He played Bama. He played these top tier teams.
Well, yeah, Northwestern's defense was good last year, but like those
Yeah.
guys are going to be accountants.
Okay, but they were still good. So like you
Right.
can't say at one point like, all right, in college he didn't play no defense, and then say, they wasn't that good. Indiana defense I think was like really good, and then Northwestern defense was good.
More
And Northwestern
accountants.
and then they got a couple guys that play on Sunday. But then if you don't even look at those games, just look at what he did against Clemson. Look at what he did against Bama with the broken ribs or whatever happened to his ribs or whatever. And so like I can't
roster was out with COVID.
Yeah,
versus
exactly.
Yeah, they were missing
that
19
too.
guys.
That too. So like I'm not about to sit here and let you just be like, well, he needs to get ready, like, because like if you're gonna say that and y'all just went about saying that the ACC don't got nobody in there, but then Trevor Lawrence was already like always ready. He been the number one pick two years ago playing nobody, right? So
Yeah.
like we can't sit here and say one thing for one guy and then discount what the other guy did when it's all on film. Like, so for me, I feel like that he played enough teams and he beat Trevor Lawrence. Like they went head to head. Clemson defense, man, I had been, that Clemson from last year or the prior year defense, but they were still good. They hadn't lost a game in a real long time. And so yeah, like even though Ohio State is still, like y'all saying, the head of the conference, but like Justin Fields had enough good tape where I didn't see this whole like process of him like needed to be ready. Of course, he a rookie. Of course, he gonna need to, go through his rookie moments. But if you base it off of his college career, I don't see how. Like,
All right. Well, shit. That's Big Ten.
We got the Pac-12 and the ACC.
Yeah. Let's go over to the ACC.
Did Kevin give his thoughts on Michigan?
We can carve out some time after we do our conference talk. I'm interested on what he thinks, especially my prediction for the game towards the end of the year at Michigan. So let's carve some time out there towards the end. Appreciate you, Prentice, for bringing that up because I would like to hear. So ACC, I kick off ACC. You guys are really making me lean North Carolina, man. Like Sam Howell, I think that it's an underrated program, and I don't even think it's underrated because it's a basketball school, quote unquote. I just think we just not paying attention enough to the ACC, and when I say we, I just mean the fans in general. Because recently it's been Clemson or bust. So I'm gonna pick North Carolina, man. I'm gonna go with the guys that's jumping out on a limb and calling them a sleeper. And I'm gonna pick UNC, man. I'm gonna keep a special eye on UNC football this year. That's what I'm gonna go with. DJ, who you like in the ACC?
so I'm gonna still go with Clemson. I like Mac Brown. Sorry, Mac Brown. I feel like he's a really good coach. Their program has been solid the past couple of years. I just feel like Clemson is going to have enough talent to win it. At least Clemson quarterback did get a chance to take the field last year. Of course, Sam Howell at UNC, they saying he the next guy. I don't know. I stay away from UNC quarterback talk, but other than that, I'm picking Clemson.
Shane, who you like ACC?
Yeah, it's still Clemson. I think North Carolina can hang. I think North Carolina is definitely the second best team in the conference. But I mean, still, Clemson is like we just talked about Ohio State, man. They just reload. They send four starters to the NFL, then they'll bring in three new guys that are going to be in the NFL in a year or two. It's a great program. Dabo's a cocksucker, but he's a great recruiter. He does what he does, right? He gets players there. We know he got exposed in the semis. Ryan Day obliterated him, and Justin Fields, obviously. But yeah, it's Clemson, man. I can't pick against him. I'll be rooting against him every game. Dabo's a piece of shit. He really he's legitimately one of the worst.
Yeah, the mute. I think Shane had a technical issue. Yes, I agree. Debo is a clock buster. He runs that clock out. You know, I bet no Clemson to cover it. He just runs that clock out. You know, he ain't trying to run that spread. You're definitely a clock buster. You're a clock duster. You, Debo. Schwab, on to you, brother. What you think?
I'm going with Carolina. I think they pull the upset. I'm not a believer in Miami. I think Clemson, they'll be right back probably next year. Howell's going to be in the NFL. Uiagalelei should be ready to really take over. But I think everything sets up for this to be the year someone knocks off Clemson. And I think a team like Carolina that has the talent up and down the offense, has the coach, I think they're the team to do it.
All right. PJ, this used to be your conference, man. So you still like that other team that's in the conference that we really don't talk about no more. Like, talk to me. What you think about this conference?
If you're talking about my Seminoles, I'm gonna love them for life. But
Right.
right now, Clemson wears the throne, and they're gonna wear the throne for a while. Unfortunately, I just want to put a halt to all that this Carolina hype train. Like they got Friday night Lang Stadium 6:30 and VTech. That's gonna be a hell of a game. VTech got a good experienced offensive line coming back, and if they can control the clock and keep Howell off the field, they can get upset week one. So they're gonna be a good team. When you got an NFL caliber quarterback, of course you got an opportunity to win some games. Still a game that you're not supposed to win, but it's Clemson's title to lose. I mean, that, like I said, their schedule is just abysmal this year. I mean, they don't play anybody other than Georgia ranked in the top 25. So it's if they win that game, they run the table and they'll be right back in the playoff easily.
All right, Pac-12 last conference. DJ, what you think of Pac-12?
I'm gonna go with Oregon. I think that they're gonna be the best team in the conference. I'm not sold on anything I see after Pac-12. Haven't been in a while. Just overall as a conference, they've been really unserious, and so I think USC going to be there, but at the end, I think it's going to be Oregon. So yeah, I'm gonna go with them.
Okay. Schwab.
Oregon. I don't see a whole lot of other talent in that conference. Washington shouldn't be terrible, but
Dan, why do Washington hate?
I'm not saying hate. I just don't think they're that good of a team. I think they're okay, but conference contender? No, I don't think so. You know what? I'm switching it. I'm gonna switch it. USC.
Why you switch?
Honestly, don't have a good reason. Just kind of a gut instinct, if anything, that just not really believing in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Not really believing in anybody. I do, though, think the North should be a little bit tougher than the South.
Oh, okay. Shane, Pac-12.
Man, this is a tough one. Like, you got I'm just looking at some of the win totals right now for conference. These are conference win totals only. And you look at like Utah's at 7, Arizona State 6.5. Where's the Oregon 7.5? That's at plus money. USC 6.5, Washington 6.5. This is a pretty competitive conference, right? Man, I'll say Oregon, but I don't really say that with much confidence. I think this is a fun conference. It's pretty going to be pretty competitive, like more competitive than any of the other big conferences, right? Like, I think we're all pretty much in agreement that, you know, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Clemson, and Bama, with the possibility of those second teams like Georgia, North Carolina, and Iowa State, like hanging a little bit, right? But you got 4 or 5 teams in this conference that have a legitimate shot to win. So that's fun. I don't take any of them seriously as far as in the playoff picture. But as far as a conference, it's going to be competitive. And I'll say Oregon, but no confidence in that one.
Prentice.
I think on paper, Oregon's they're the favorite, but it wouldn't surprise me if Utah won it. Utah is that one team that you never see them in a shootout. It's always, you know, they play some barn burner games. It's a bar fight when you play Utah. It's unfortunate they lost that freshman tailback, Ty Jordan, who passed away. I mean, he was a damn good player. And I could see the team kind of like rallying around that and kind of go out and win some games, maybe even win a division. I mean, Arizona State too is going to be. Nobody said Arizona State. Arizona State's going to be really good, and Edwards has kind of really exceeded more than I thought he was going to do. I thought he was fired after a year.
I thought Herm Edwards was one, and I thought it was a joke.
Yes,
I thought like that dude has legitimately like put together a really nice program.
He got some scandals going, so I mean, we'll see if he lasts past this year.
Well, I mean, that, you know, if you want you play to win the game, right?
Right.
Hello.
That's good. That's good.
What's the pick, Prentice?
He said USC, or I mean, you said Prentice said Oregon, or right?
I said Oregon, but it wouldn't surprise me if Utah was the team that ended up winning it. I think they have a good defense. Their quarterback situation is iffy, and you know, they got to find a tailback, of course. But I think defensively, they'll be there. They got a great coach, and like I said, them Oregon and Arizona State. You know, I think it'll come down to them 3. I think USC getting a little bit too much pub right now. I think their awakening will come at some point in the season, like it always does.
And I will say, and I'm certainly not overreacting to the beatdown of Hawaii, but I do think this is probably Chip Kelly's best UCLA team. I think defensively they're good. And I think DTR, like, I think he's going to, like, he can win games for you. Like, he's not a star, but I mean, I like the way he plays.
Can we revisit this after they get absolutely smacked this weekend by LSU?
Absolutely smacked by LSU. That's your prediction?
Multiple touchdowns.
Multiple touchdowns. Well, first of all, that's not a conference game. So, I mean, that's somewhat irrelevant. And I think
just reading into what they've looked
okay.
like
Well,
so
I mean,
far.
here, Mike, here's a perfect example of somebody that says multiple touchdown wins. They're gonna beat them by multiple touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, go out, get a loan or something, and take it and bet it on LSU. You can get LSU at -3 and -145 on the betting line, on the money line. So if you're so confident it's a multiple touchdown win, go put your money where your mouth is. Yeah, a little silence now, huh? Yeah.
On the road in LA. I don't know about that.
Yeah, guy, shit. I don't agree with that. I'm on the under 65 in that one, actually, Mike. We'll get to that Thursday. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're throwing out real confidence in a multiple touchdown win. Go ahead, fire the -3. That's easy money then.
Yeah, man. So I'm going with USC. I think SC last year, Corona threw off a lot, but I think the Pac-12, a lot of the teams looked a lot worse. I don't think the Pac-12 is as bad as it is. Like it's probably the least talented conference. I think top to bottom out of the Power Five. But a lot of them teams look really bad last year. USC to me didn't look as bad
If
as
you
the
looked at like
contemporary.
the average talent of all the programs, I think like as a whole, it might be the second best conference in college football, but there's no real team that you look at and like, man, they should be excellent.
I don't know.
Second best conference.
I don't think so.
And they only played like seven.
Maybe.
They only played like seven games or something last year. Like Mike, you just said, like with the COVID and stuff. So like they season, like the whole conference season last year was just forgettable. Like it wasn't like it didn't really like matter. And then wasn't nobody even thinking about putting none of their teams close to the playoffs or even in the conversation, nothing like that. So it's just gonna be interesting to see. But they've been like really nobody talking about them for a few years now. And they used to have, they got the USC, the Oregons, and teams like that who got like, national championships and all of that stuff. And like now it's like we talked about them last for like a reason. And so like,
Well, the problem
They
with that
only lost one game, and it was to Oregon at the end of the year. So
the problem is all them teams play alike. That's like, when you get certain teams, you got like they all play a similar style, and then every other year one of their teams will have an NFL caliber quarterback. So it's not like Oregon of 6-7 years ago where they played
right.
They was completely different from everybody in that conference. So you paid attention to it. But when you got 12, 13 teams that play similar football, you just lose interest. USC ain't getting the talent that they used to. Is just that's the league they need to get rid of. I'm talking about the Big 12. They need to get the Pac-12 out. They need to get them up out of here.
Reggie Bush ain't walking through that door.
Bruh, man, I just don't. And it's like I said, it's when you watch their games, they fun to watch. Especially they come on at 10 o'clock. You get some of them late ones. Sometimes them be some of the best games. I don't know. That league just baffles the fuck out of me sometimes. I don't know about second best league, and maybe second best league to watch.
I mean, there's parity, but
yeah, definitely.
Just because there's parity doesn't make it good.
Well, no, maybe I'm just not a believer in some of the teams in the Big Ten. The ACC, you're looking at Clemson, Carolina, and Miami. I don't know.
Yeah. I would rather watch a North Carolina Miami game where there's going to be 65 points scored and 7 or 8 personal foul penalties than some shit fest fucking let's punt on 4th and 1 at the other team's 40 Wisconsin Penn State garbage. I just can't. Big Ten football just does not do look at the way these games are lined, Mike. Like Friday night, for example, this Friday night you got Michigan State at Northwestern. Over under is 45.
Oh God, that game's gonna suck.
And then you go to the ACC game that night, North Carolina and Virginia Tech, like Prentice was talking about. Over under 63.5. Like I don't want to watch, let's Northwestern Michigan State run on first for 2 yards, run on second for a yard, incomplete on 3rd and 7. Like that just doesn't do it for me. That's why it's like we've gotten to the point with Ohio State where we're doing all this conference realignment. Just send them to the SEC. I want to watch Ohio State versus Georgia. I don't want to watch this garbage Big Ten crap. The Pac-12 games I find somewhat entertaining. Like some of them will enter. Like USC, Oregon, those teams are fun to watch. Like I can't find anything in the Big Ten that's fun to watch.
Now, follow-up question to that though: does it play into that mindset that like some of these Pac-12 games that we're talking about, it's what you're watching at 1 a.m. because you still want to watch football, and like you're getting extra enjoyment out of it from that aspect?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
something to try
absolutely
to get some backdoor money from the money.
That's absolutely true. I will. You're 100% right about that. And that's the thing about being a gambler is when you lose during the day, and you're trying to get a little bit back before that NFL Sunday, you find yourself firing $500-600 on a fucking Utah USC game at 10 o'clock at Central Time while you're, just stuck all this money. Then you're freaking out about holding calls and personal fouls. And yeah, that's the only time they come on.
I'm like, if you're not gambling though,
on your channel,
but like if you're not gambling though, like, and then let's say you switch the games, like if you trying to like if it's Northwestern versus like Michigan State at 12 at night versus USC and Oregon or whoever, like I'm not staying up to watch that Northwestern game. Like I mean, so it's still different. Now if you betting, all bets off. But if you just watching the
Rest in peace to God, I'm blinking on his name, and I'm sorry that I'm doing it, but the guy that always wore the Hawaiian shirts and the broadcaster, absolute legend.
All right.
3 a.m. legend right there.
Let's talk just some miscellaneous stuff. There's a couple other teams that could be in the running. We could talk Cincinnati. DJ, I heard you talk about them. I have a special tie to Cincinnati myself, so I'm interested in them. Liberty, I want to talk a little bit about Liberty also because they have a quarterback that I think is like he's trending towards that like Trey Lance. If Trey Lance actually had a season type of thing. So we can talk some more independence as well, Notre Dame and teams like that. So anybody want to kick it off maybe with a team that we didn't talk about to win the title that might have been independent or in a smaller conference?
To win the title, no.
Well, not necessarily win the title, but just be in the mix, be a team that's ranked high or has a favorable schedule, a difficult schedule that you might think can make some noise and get in somebody's way.
Yeah, I think the answer to that, and even though I'm obviously very high on Oklahoma, and you've heard what I've said about them, and you know what I bet on them. I think the answer's got to be Iowa State. They're 24-1 to win the national championship. I think that's worth a few bucks. That's worth some lunch money. Like if Oklahoma does have that trip up game, right, that fucks them, and or Rattler gets hurt, right, for example, the Iowa State, like that's still a really, really good team. Like I have them right. Like I have it, obviously the big teams, Alabama, Clemson, those five, like the five we talked about. I got Iowa State right there at 6. Like I'll take Iowa State over Florida, Texas A&M, Cincinnati, any of those next teams, North Carolina. Iowa State's over them. So I think if Oklahoma is to get upset, if Oklahoma is to have an injury to Rattler or something like that, then I think Iowa State, they get in the playoff and they can do some damage.
Robert Kakala, that's his name.
A commentator, you said.
Yeah.
Definitely RIP. Prentice, what you like that's off the radar?
I mean, ain't really shit I like. I mean, I like Cincinnati. I don't like their team. I'm not a fan of Desmond Riddler. I just didn't see it last year. But I like that. I like that Cincinnati said we will try to play teams. Like I'm not going to sit back again. We know we got talent coming back, and you added Notre Dame to the schedule. Like that's what I want to see. Teams like a Boise State. Boise State's going to be really good this year. They got some beef on their schedule. Like, so you're going to give us, if we run the table, you're going to go back and look at our resume and say, we did all we could do. And teams that we attempted to play, or we got who we got on our schedule and we ran a table. So just to see what Cincinnati and Boise can do this year, what they have on their schedule. That's more what I'm looking for. I think it's going to be quiet from a mid-major perspective this year. Like, I don't think you'll have another Coastal Carolina that'll just come out of nowhere and just, win some games and, there's talk about playoffs, but it ain't legitimate. I don't think you'll get that. Cincinnati will be the one, but I don't consider them a mid-major. They borderline a major
Group of
program.
five.
They got talent. You know what I'm saying? So again,
Right.
Yeah, I'm with Prentice on this one. I think the thing that could end up hurting Cincinnati though is like the two teams they put on their schedule, Indiana and Notre Dame, are teams I think that are set up for major disappointments. I just can't escape the idea though, that just the gut feeling that Cincy drops one at some point in the year, and that's just going to be too much for them to overcome. With the rest of that schedule not looking super hot.
Yeah, I don't like Cincinnati. I'd rather see Bishop Sycamore in the playoff than Cincinnati. I don't need to see. I don't need to see like
relax.
Come on. No, ain't nobody trying to watch Cincinnati. Like seriously, Notre Dame, Cincinnati, keep teams like that out of the playoff.
Yeah, I know you was on Cincinnati. Well, not necessarily on them, but you brought them out earlier. You got anything to maybe convince Shane about them or any other team that he ain't trying to?
I ain't listening to Shane. I think Cincinnati is going to be there, but I do agree with him. Keep Notre Dame out of there. Like, depending on who wins between those teams, that team is going to have an inside track. I really hope that Cincinnati pull it off because I'm tired of watching Notre Dame every 4 years get in there and then just get smacked up, and just because. So I'm just on the Cincy train because I think they're going to beat Notre Dame. They rank like 7, I think, and then those teams like in the top 6, some of them got to play each other. They in hard conferences or whatever. So I think they might get in. They might get in by default. So that's why I'm more so on they track.
Okay. So I'm gonna bring up Liberty again, because I really like their quarterback, Malik Willis. Watching dude film, it's like he like just like a natural, like I don't know. It kind of reminded me of that hype that Trey Lance got, and I didn't buy into the Trey Lance hype because I just couldn't see the tape. Whereas with Malik Willis, you can see the tape. I've been seeing some like random ass crazy mocks that try to push him the #1 pick overall. I doubt that happens, but I mean, we saw stuff sometimes that said Trey Lance could down there would have got it if Trevor Lawrence wasn't, Sharpie then, right? So I'm gonna talk about Malik Willis. I've been seeing like NFL like pundits say like Jalen Hurts skill set. And so Liberty, I'm pulling Liberty's schedule back up now. But Liberty, I know they got Georgia. They got Syracuse, Power 5 conference win. That will probably be a win. And they got Ole Miss at Ole Miss. So Ole Miss will probably be the biggest stage that we get to see Malik Willis on this year. And as I said, Ole Miss is my sleeper. So I'm not too confident in that. But if they get to this point, Ole Miss did what I said they could possibly do that we sleeping on. You're looking at like a top team in the country that we get to see Malik Willis play against. So shout out Malik Willis.
You said they play Georgia?
No, Ole Miss, not Georgia. Ole Miss.
Okay.
Yeah. They play at Ole Miss, not Georgia. My bad. So shout out Malik Willis. I know you watching, bro. I'm on your train. You know what I'm saying? Malik Willis for #1 pick.
Yeah, I think
he tough. He tough. I mean, they've been on him for 2 years. I think now people are starting to pay attention to him. I mean, Trey Lance had the same situation. I know people didn't get to see him last year, but his sophomore tape, they mentioned him with Lawrence. They thought he was really capable of overtaking Lawrence for the #1 pick. But Willis, man, he had some decent wins, I think, in 19, and then last year they ended up beating, I think it was Virginia Tech in a shootout. But he tough, man. They own him. They know about him. I think when it's all said and done, if they evaluate him the way that they should, he probably gonna end up a top 10 draft pick.
Yeah, they beat Coastal. That was like their signature win.
They went 10-1 last year, or
Yeah, they lost to NC State by 1 point, and that was at NC State. So, but yeah, they beat Coastal. It was an overtime game. So they beat Coastal, and he looked good in a lot of the games, man.
And Hugh can coach. They know that he's just a dirtbag.
Yeah,
And he's got the perfect pairing out there, and they can, if like I said, they got a situation to where I don't think they'll beat Ole Miss, but they can definitely go 9-1, 10-1 again this year.
yeah.
Are there any college coaches that are like you can say like this guy is not a dirtbag? Because if there is, there's a very short list.
I don't think Mac Brown is a dirtbag.
I agree. Okay,
I don't think Nick Saban is a dirtbag.
Yeah, he probably is.
I don't think he is. I mean, he has his way of winning. His players love him, but he ain't never been in the media for nothing crazy like Urban Meyer. You know what I'm saying?
Urban Meyer back in the media now talking about something, which he shouldn't have said it. He was talking about players got cut because they wasn't vaccinated.
Yeah, even though that's funny. That's funny because I agree with what he said.
Yeah, but you just
can't say that.
Yeah.
we all know that's why Cam got cut today.
Cam got cut because he's not good at playing quarterback anymore. Like I could see like the vaccine having something to do with it, but he can't play anymore. And they want to go with Mac Jones. So what's the point?
But then why you keep Brian? Exactly. And then you started him all those games, and then you got Jarrett Stidham and Brian Hoyer. So then you don't just keep him. You don't keep him unless he said release me because I have another opportunity. They said he was good for the locker room. Everybody rock with him, and he's been your number one quarterback all season, started all your preseason game, and then you cut him, start the rookie, and then you got two bums that's like backing up. Like, I don't really understand because if something happened to Mac Jones this year, like they're gonna be in
Jared
trouble.
Stidham time.
Exactly, and we seen enough of his tape to know that he's not that guy, pal. Like that little.
Yeah, like I'm not saying. I think the vaccine part definitely made the decision easier. I agree with.
I feel like that was a lot of it.
I think it could also have to do with giving him a chance to go play somewhere else. Like he's not going to play here, and they're going to move on. And they told him that, and they probably said, hey, we're going to cut you. You can go somewhere else where you might have a better chance to play. I don't know, but I don't think it really matters. Like he's not a starter in this league anymore. That's just cold reality.
All right. Well, where we at? We talking about scumbag coaches and non-scumbag coaches.
Well, we know who number one is. Like we know who the biggest scumbag coach. Like that we can all agree on that. Like that's not even a debate. It's Dabo Swinney. I mean, that's one of the worst people. That's
Brian Kelly kill a kid.
Shay about to get muted again. But I agree though, Shay. I agree.
Yeah, Brian Kelly did off somebody. That's true. But I mean, I'm saying
Mike Boy out there at Ole Miss, he a dirtbag too.
Dude, Dabo is
Plane trade, baby.
Plane trade, he a dirtbag.
Yeah. All right, man. What we got? Let's
talk about the playoff.
Yeah, national championship playoff. Schwab, go ahead and lead it. This is a 2-hour edition. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna visit the little boys' room myself. Schwab, go ahead and lead us off. I ain't got no bill for y'all tonight because I'm in my office and whatnot. We clean down here. But Schwab, go ahead. Take us into college football playoff.
Yeah, number 1 seed, I'm going Oklahoma. 2, Georgia. 3, I'm going to say Bama. And then 4 is going to be UNC. I've got Oklahoma beating UNC. Bama beats Georgia. Georgia finds a way to blow it again. And then national championship. Shout out Jim Ross, good old JR. I know you're watching. Boomer Sooner takes it this year. DJ, what do we got?
Let me look and see. Man, this tough. So 1 seed. Oh, I'm gonna keep it Bama. 2 seed Clemson. 3 Ohio State. 4 I'm gonna go Cincinnati. Bama beat Cincy. Clemson beats Ohio State. Bama beat Clemson. Super early. I don't believe in it, but it's super early.
All right, I'm rolling. Oklahoma's the 1, Bama's the 2, Ohio State's the 3, Clemson's the 4. Oklahoma beats Clemson. Bama beats Ohio State. And then Oklahoma beats Bama.
So
It's
me,
hard. It's hard to say those words, man. Like it's hard to pick against Bama, isn't it? I like. Go ahead, P-Jack.
I'm gonna go 1 Georgia. I'm gonna go 2.
Hold on. You got Georgia 1.
Yes.
So you're saying they're going to win Saturday against Clemson? That by you predicting them to get
Yes.
the 1. Okay,
Yes.
then you're saying they're going to run the table.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, either one loss. I think one loss with a win versus Clemson. I think they get the 1 seed. I'm going 1 Georgia. I'm going 2 Oklahoma. 3 Cincinnati. 4 Clemson and Iowa State gonna be there. They gonna be there for that one. I'm gonna go Clemson. Clemson gonna have a hard time getting in that playoff with that first loss. That's my personal opinion. We'll see it at the end of the year. But Clemson lose Saturday. That schedule just won't do them no favors.
You can get Georgia. I don't know what books you got over there in Indiana, but you can get Georgia. You can still get Georgia at +3.5 and +140 for Saturday. I don't think those are going to be there around game time. So if you like that, I'd get that in now.
Yeah, I'm gonna take some round on that one.
yeah, they got a FanDuel points bet, pretty much same ones as Illinois, Shane.
Okay.
That's what your playoffs like.
You said me?
Yeah.
Press.
Oh yeah. Well, who's winning?
What did you ask me?
Who's winning?
I think Georgia win it this year. I do. I think Georgia. I think Georgia come out to Indianapolis and they get it done.
Do they beat OU or Cincy?
OU. Yeah, it'll be Bama. I mean, excuse me. I got Georgia and Oklahoma for the national title. And I feel
like Fromm really is underrated at this point. Like people hated on him for a while. Like, okay, Justin Fields is better, right? We all agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not to say that Fromm's still not a very good college quarterback. I don't think he's going to be a better pro than Justin Fields. And I don't think he was better than Justin Fields at the time when it was what happened. But he's still very good. And I feel like he's like almost underappreciated.
The distance does get overblown, I think, because I mean, let's remember too. And I know this is going to sound like a knock on Fields, but I swear it isn't. He got to play in the Big Ten. The Big Ten stinks. Fromm had to go up against the Murs row in the SEC.
What was Justin Fields before he got to the Big Ten?
Backing up Jake Fromm.
You think Jake Fromm was a better quarterback than Justin Fields was?
No, I think Fields ended up being the better of the two. I think that should be pretty clear at this point, but I don't think the gap is as wide as people seem to think it is.
At least in college, right? Like I don't think.
No, this is strictly college. Pros, he might hang around as a backup for somebody. I don't think he's ever going to be a starter anywhere. That's not even a question that Fields is going to be the better pro.
Right. Like we don't we don't need to draw a conclusion from from being like overrated or not that good just because it wasn't as good as Fields. Like those two aren't, like that's
right. I forgot you're not on Twitter anymore. No, that's all Twitter's
Like
doing.
we see that,
Man, how come
we
they
see that
got
all
rid
the
of
time though.
Prom?
But but we see that all the time. Like Cam Newton back in the Tim Tebow and
Yeah.
other stuff like that, or like
it
Alvin
happens.
Kamara couldn't get on the field at Bama, and then went to Tennessee, and now he's this All Pro back. He better than all the guys that was at Bama. And so like
Yeah.
you see stuff like that happen all the time in college, and it'd be like, well, if this is their guy, they don't necessarily be caring how good the new guy is because they like, well, he got time. And so like them coaches, if they love, whoever the start is, bro, like you're not getting on that field. Whereas like you will see difference like in the pros or whatever, like they're gonna go with, who they think is gonna get them the best chance to win. And they not really tied to a certain guy. Like unless they paid this guy a certain amount of money, then they tied to him. But in college, they like, well, this our guy. He's the incumbent starter. The freshman, true freshman, or whatever, redshirt freshman looks decent, but he got time. And so like if the incumbent guy plays like 3 more years, the freshman gonna be looking like, well, I need to figure something else out. And so like in college, it just be weird. Like, but yeah.
Mike, we need your playoff here.
Okay, so I got Bama 1, OU 2. I'm gonna go with Clemson 3. Gotta go Ohio State 4.
And who wins?
OU over Ohio State. Which
Wait,
hurts
no,
to say.
you got the OU is the 2, Ohio State's the
I'm
4.
sorry. Alabama over OSU. Oklahoma over Clemson, and Oklahoma over Bama and national champion.
So okay, that's in a year that looks more wide open than anything. 3 of the 5 of us have a national title game. Oklahoma beating Alabama.
But that'd be good because Oklahoma just get to they last 4 appearances in the college playoffs. It's been 0-4,
Choke.
and so with them, if they actually beat Bama, that does like vindicate the season, being like, yeah, like it vindicates and makes the season like what we saying that it is. But if Bama just run it off again, then we back, kind of where we are. And so like I'm always thinking like, man, like I just need to see it. Like that's why I didn't put Oklahoma in my top 4 because I feel like they're gonna lose a random game like they have known to do, and so like that might stop them because let's say they're not looking at their conference, the Big 12, as being as strong, and so like it'll be one of those teams who like is undefeated, but then they stayed at their spot and then they just kept moving up, and I feel like that 4 spot this year is gonna be able to be somebody that like snuck in. And so if Oklahoma do beat them, I'll be happy because I'm tired of watching Bama win. But I'm just not necessarily sold on them, regardless of their quarterback, and that's fine.
Well, the thing is, Lincoln Riley can coach. He can coach some fucking offense, and he do it every year. And now you got a quarterback who played well coming back, and I think that's why all that hype is surrounding them. But like you said, they just stumble every damn year. They just find a way to do it. I mean, I know Oklahoma hasn't been successful in the playoffs, but that year they lost to Georgia when they had Baker. I mean, that was a damn good game. That was a classic game, a game that they probably should have won. So they can definitely get in there and make some noise. It's just, once again, is that Big 12 defense going to be able to make some stops when they need to make stops? But
you got the Grinch coaching over there, man.
There's no high power type offense this year. I don't think that comes from these elite teams. So I think that's the separator this year. You knew you had to outscore Bama last year. It was the only one you're going to beat them. I don't think you got that this year where somebody you want to score 55, 60 to beat them.
All right, y'all. So yeah, we're gonna end there, man. Thank y'all. This was a double episode of the pod. Hopefully Quan, he making sure he logging our hours this week because he jumped on the beginning and asked what a podcast is. So here it is, y'all. So we'll be back next week. Appreciate you guys. As always, signing off. Good podcast. Peace.